I used to warm up with like just a bunch of nonsense, you know. You know what I mean? Like just to get the hands like moving. And I stopped doing that. I'll sound check and I'll call a song that has a decent solo and I'll dig in a little bit and I'll just shut down until the show.
Okay.
And I found that my just lyrical approach to soloing is better than if I spent a half hour going, you know, because you're kind of programming yourself that's your default.
Yeah.
And if I go in kind of cold, I'm much more lyrical as a soloist. I tell a story. I speak more.
See.
I find I'm speaking more with the guitar and making better note choices and playing some stuff that I don't normally play without warming up. I know that's completely converse and diametrically opposed to what people say to do. But I found myself last year just saying, you know, when I'm up there on stage, I'm like, oh, you suck. My God, you're terrible. You know, and this is the internal conversation. I'm like, oh, I like that lunch spot there in Delaware. We're going to do that tomorrow. I think like it's blue crab season. Oh, you suck again. And this is what I'm doing on the gig, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like I think there's a Ruth's Chris there in Cleveland that I like. Oh no, that's Morton's. Oh, okay, we're gonna.
This is in the solo.
This is a fucking gig. He's during slow.
Yeah.
And I'm like I can't do that. And I just kind of zenned out and I took a different approach and I calmed myself down with the help of a couple of my close friends and just calmed down. And I said I need to reapproach the way I look at this thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing it in too much of a linear way and I'm seeing too many boxes, you know, and I'm also overthinking it going, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to get to that, you know, it's like this musical ADD thing that's happening internally. And it's just like, oh, you got to just slow down and you know what, enjoy the moment. Don't dwell on the past or fret about the future. Just sit there, enjoy the music in the moment. Yeah. And I found that approach and not warming up,
which I have questions.
Warming up,
yeah,
has improved my phrasing and my approach to the instrument because I'm coming in a much less affected and clear-minded way. And I know it sounds weird. And again, it's just my opinion, it's my approach. But if you're ever stuck in a rut, I always say, stop playing. Don't power out of it.
I was really going to ask about the rut.
Because you're going to frustrate yourself and all the demons that lie in your head are going to start creeping up into reality.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, I am playing too many notes. Yeah, I am cliched. Yeah, this is kind of boring.
Or I am playing the same kind of thing over and over. Yeah.
This is boring because I'm bored. You know?
Oh, right.
And you're like, it's like you need to clear the palette and you need to just go. Normally on this song I start here. You know, well, why do I have to do that? Well, it's because, you know, it's like some of my guitars were starting to get deer trails because I would use them for one song and I'm like, this guitar is wearing out in the key of D only, and it's like in these blocks, and they're like, wait a minute, you know, there's so many ways to play in the key of D. You know what I mean? But okay, so if I start like that, why not just so? It makes no difference in an improv solo. You know, it prevents it from starting to become like Broadway. You know, and you got to just kind of just get out of that. You will get into a rut and you will start doubting yourself.
Well, because I'm wondering, you know, the thing that like I'll think about is like physically playing something versus like hearing what you just played, and like you know, there's definitely a physical thing about the guitar where like you want to play a thing and it feels good. And,
and you want to play a thing and there's certain, you know, it's like, you know, like as a, you know, I guess as an F1 driver, you want to do the fastest lap that's ever been achieved on that track, but sometimes you're not always going to do that. This is the difference between canned music and live music.
Right.
And you can absolutely, with the aid of Pro Tools and Ableton Live and all the tracks, and you can absolutely achieve a standard of outcome.
Yeah.
And in music, going, it's like it's going to be the same every night. It's going to be as good as it is on the tracks, and we can play along, and we can augment, and we can do this. That's a standard of outcome.
Yeah.
What you lose in that approach is the outstanding night, is the night that changes your life. Going, and I had my greatest show I ever did was in 2014. It was the first time we played at Red Rocks. That's the best I ever played, best I ever sang, probably the best I ever looked. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like going, I knew it was a great one.
Yeah.
And I still go back to that for inspiration.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if I use the canned approach, it would not stick out. Like, there's been some bad nights where I was like, I'm terrible. My God. And you're just hitting the wrong notes. But what gets you out of those nights is knowing that if you get on that wave, you could ride it all the way through.
Sure.
And it's no net. Just sing a phrase out of tune. Okay, we're moving on. If you play a bad note, okay, we're moving on. It's a live show.